The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning on this lovely sunny day, certainly where I am. Blue skies, not a cloud in the sky, and quite warm. So I hope it's the same where you are. Thank you for joining us this morning, taking some time out of your busy schedules for this short half-an-hour session on Revit. So it's going to be an interesting one, this one. I was asked to challenge myself with a webinar that was a little bit out of the ordinary and a little bit different. So I thought, why not try and teach Revit in 30 minutes, or do as much teaching inside of Revit in 30 minutes as I can. So this is going to be very much warts and all, completely unscripted. We're just going to jump into Revit. We're going to start from scratch, and we're going to see how much of a building we can put together inside of Revit in 30 minutes with all the bells and whistles attached to it. So yeah, bear with me. We'll see how far we get. Should anyone have any questions, use the panel on your right-hand side of your screen to ask a question, which I'll come to at the end. And the session is being recorded and will be up on our YouTube channel a little bit later on in the week. So without further ado, I'm going to turn my camera off because you don't want to see me leaning in and getting all close and personal to the screen. But yeah, let's get started. So I've been using Revit really ever since I started Man and Machine 17 years ago. So you know, a very long time. Great piece of software, very easy to learn and very easy to use. But we haven't got time to talk about all of the ins and outs of that today because we're going to jump straight in and start using it. So here's Revit. We're going to start up a brand new project file, which is an RVT. Doesn't really matter what template we use out of construction or architectural. I'll just stick with construction and hit OK, which will load us into the default Revit interface. Now, usually when I'm training this product, I'll probably take a good hour talking about the user interface, but for the purpose of today, quite simply, we have a file menu. Check out your options, which gives you things like the ability to change file locations and also check that your hardware is supported by Autodesk Revit. We have a quick launch toolbar, which has save, undo, redo, and simple tools like measure, section view, 3D view. We have our help area on the right-hand side. We have a ribbon bar split into tabs. Each tab has several panels relating to the different tools on that panel. For example, if I wanted to draw an architectural staircase, I go to architecture, I go to circulation, and I have a staircase tool. Every tool has a tooltip. Should you hover your mouse over that tooltip for a couple of seconds, it will give you some information about that tool and what that tool does. Sometimes that's a simple paragraph and an image or two, and in other cases you'll actually get a video on there showing you what that particular tool does. Underneath the ribbon bar, we have an options bar. Take a look at that throughout the session today. You'll see lots of different options, such as do you want to draw the center line of a wall or a finished face of the wall, all the properties for what you have selected, how we navigate around our project with the project browser, bottom left, and then our real estate, our modeling view. So first things first, we're going to jump straight into an elevation. We want to do a simple, maybe a couple of stories. So I'm going to take these levels and just tweak them ever so slightly. So a level marker is something that we can draw on inside of Revit. I'm just going to say that I've got 3,000 millimeters, so 3 meters between these two levels. And I'm also going to go to architecture, datum grid, and add a third level. This is typically not snapping for me. Level, add a third level just above here, and again we'll go with 3,000 above the floor below. These are linked directly to views. Okay, so if I take level 0 and rename it here to ground floor, I won't rename all of them because we are limited on time. You'll notice that the view also changes on the left hand side. They're directly linked. The way that we draw in Revit is in 2D. We use these views to draw. So if I go to a ground floor plan and just draw a very quick wall, you will notice in my elevation that wall starts on this level. If I select that wall, I can see its properties. Select with the left mouse click. I can see its properties, and I could say that that wall is currently unconnected at 8 meters. I could link it to level 1. If I then move level 1, the wall moves with it. Okay, so we have full parametric modeling inside of here, as you would expect. Okay. So we set out grids typically first of all. And if this is a real project, we would also go in and we'd start setting out grid lines as well as our levels. where we'd have a structural grid, 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, so forth. I'm not going to do that for the purpose of today, just because we are pushed for time in this half an hour session, of which 5 minutes is already gone. But we would typically add a grid on our different views as well. But for the purpose today, we're going to do kind of everything on the fly. So let's start with some walls. Select our wall tool. We get a load of options as to how we want to draw them. For now, I'm going to draw them unconnected. I'm going to draw them using the center line of the wall, and I do want them to be chained. We can choose from our type selector, just here, what type of wall that we're drawing. Standard brickwork wall is fine for me. That's got a blockwork, insulation, brickwork, and some plasterboard. So I'm going to grab that, and it's just like drawing a line in 2D CAD. We click once, we move our mouse, and we get a bungee. Okay, that bungee is basically a wall. So I'm going to move this way, and I'm going to say that I want to draw this, I don't know, about 10 meters. Again, we're going to make all this up kind of on the fly this morning. We're then going to come down. Let's say we want to go a little bit longer. So let's say 12.5 meters. Come in, we can snap and track to finish that off and close that rectangle. You can see we get a fully detailed wall. I am using the thin lines command inside of Revit to make my walls look a little bit more thin. With thin lines turned off, everything works with your view settings bottom left. So I'm currently on 1 to 100. That's why the lines look very thick if I zoom in. If I lower this to 1 to 5, the lines will look much thinner. Typically, think of this like your print settings. If you're going to be printing a view at 1 to 100, you want your paper space or your components to look correct at that view. So yeah, in my case, I like to always have the lines looking nice and crisp, so I turn on thin lines. So we've got some external walls, absolutely fine for the purpose of today. The next thing I'm going to do is use my wall tool, and I'm going to say that I want to draw an internal partition. So if I scroll down a little bit, find a 75mm stud, and then maybe we're just going to draw in some partitions here. Again, I've not been overly accurate with regards to the size of these things, but using the same process, I'm just going to come in and just eyeball in some walls in my building. So I've got a room here, and then maybe I'm just going to come in and just recreate a similar one of these and just pull it all the way across to the end there. Okay. No dimensions, as you can see at the moment, but those original dimensions that I used to size this building are still there. If you start selecting objects, you'll notice that you get dimensions appear. These dimensions can be made permanent. They can be deleted, although they are still there. They can also be overridden with manual dimensions should you want to specifically show the dimension for the overall size of the building. Okay. Again, for the purpose of today, I'm not doing that, but what you want to remember is that you need to select what you would like to move. For example, this wall here is 5560 finish face to finish face. If I select this one, it's also 5560 finish face to finish face. If I have this one selected and edit the dimension, it moves this wall. If I have this one selected and edit the dimension, it moves this wall. So you must select whatever you want to move. So with our wall build-up, I'm just going to go in and say add a floor. I'm going to go around and pick all of the external walls on this building. It's already going to the core. If you didn't want it to go to the core, we can either hit the space bar or this little flip button here to get it to go to the underside of the finished face. I want this to go to the core of the wall, and I can choose the type of floor that I would like to use, and I can press the tick. For your reference, all of these are out of the box: floors, walls, so on and so forth, but absolutely if you were to select any of those, go to edit type, go to edit structure, we can see the layout of those, we can see the different layers either in plan view or in section view, and we can go in and tweak sizes, remove layers, add layers, and customize them so that they are your own types of walls. For this, we're very, very rushed on time, so we're just using everything out of the box. So we have some walls on the ground floor. Very simple so far. I'm just going to go and use a door. I'm going to load a family using my default UK library. I'm going to go to doors, external doors, and just find one that looks a little bit nicer than the default. Let's go and find something that looks like a typical front door. That is absolutely fine. We'll zoom in and we'll say that that front door is sat just there. Again, it's quite easy to snap things centrally in the wall. You can tweak that and move it afterwards if you should want to. And obviously that door has different sizes that you can then choose as well. I'm also going to add some internal doors. So again, I'm just going to use one of the default ones. Let's just choose a 910 door. Let's have this here. Let's have one just here. And maybe let's have one just here. All being very inaccurate so far, but you get the general idea. On the back of the building here, maybe I want to have a nice large sliding door. I'm just going to show that with a curtain wall for the purpose of this, just to show the functionality. So back to my wall, I'll use an empty curtain wall, but I will edit the type. I will make sure that it's automatically embedded, apply OK, and then I'm basically going to trace over the existing wall. I want this to be probably about 2 meters high with an offset from the base of about 150, and I'm just going to eyeball it 500. That's the wrong offset, my apologies. I meant to have an offset just here. And let's go around about 500 from the side. And just click that in there. Whilst we're drawing in 2D, everything that we're doing is actually I'm going to take into account in 3D. So literally everything that we're going in and we're putting into this particular model is currently a 3D. So, you know, all of this that I'm just doing while I'm tidying up these dimensions, everything that I'm drawing is going to be there in 3D inside of Revit. So let's just match these dimensions either side. Sorry, that's to the inner edge there. Let's just grab our witness line and snap it with a tab key to the plaster. And then we're going to change that to 500 as well. Beautiful. I'm going to delete those, a bit naughty, but I don't need them. Make sure you don't actually delete the wall at the same time, would be good. And then let's just go and have a look in 3D. So very quickly, we have the start of a building. Okay, very rough, very ready, but we've got something that's representing what we're after. Back to the ground floor, we're going to go onto a ceiling plan for the ground floor, and we're going to add a ceiling. I want that to be a plain plaster ceiling, and I'm going to click once in each room to add that ceiling in place. I'm then going to go up to level 1 in my building. I'm going to say that I want to add another floor. This time maybe we're going to go with a timber floor. Select the walls and go and choose the walls that you would like to attach the floor to. Again, I'm not going to do this room by room like I maybe normally would. I'm going to do this quite quickly because we're nearly halfway through the session already. So we have our floor, we place that down. Revit will instinctively ask if we want to attach the floor to the walls. And to give you an understanding about what that does, if I just draw a quick section with 2 clicks through here and visit that section on a fine level of detail, we can see that the floor here is cut with the wall. If that went to the core, like it does down here, if this wall extended into the foundation like it would in reality, this wall would cut through to the core. The floor, sorry, would cut through to the core. So, you know, it would do everything that you would expect it to do. So it does give you a lot of intuitive options in there, which is really nice. Okay, so we've got a second floor. Let's go ahead and go up to our level 2 in our building. Maybe in here, we're just going to go and add a quick configuration of rooms. So go to walls, and let's go ahead and choose our internal partition again. We'll go with a 75mm stud. And for the purpose of this, I'm going to say maybe 3.5 meters all the way across. Maybe I'll just split those into something like that, that, and that. That'll do. Use my trim command, TR on the keyboard, modify, trim to corner otherwise, and I'm just going to trim these components back. Sorry, I didn't mean to trim to corner. I'm going to click there and there. So you always click first the reference point. So I want to trim to there, and I want to keep that part of the line, the opposite to AutoCAD. Architecture door, and we're going to go in and quickly place a door just here. We're going to place a door just here. We're going to place another one here, and finally one here. Okay. I'm actually up on my second floor at the minute, so that looks something like this. Okay. It looks like I've actually made a little mistake and I've put them on the ceiling plan. Doesn't matter. I can select all of those objects that are on that level 2, minus the external walls, and I can make sure that actually they are put on the right level, which they do actually look like they're the right level. So maybe that's just my eyes playing tricks on me. I'm pretty sure They're not on the right level, which they're not. Interesting. Let's go and check our elevation. I put them on level 2 instead of level 1. That's why. The joys of having something that puts you under pressure and makes you rush. Okay, so let's go and grab those and actually make sure that they're on level 1 and not on level 2. So let's go and grab, we'll grab all the walls to begin with, and we'll put those back down to level 1. My apologies. That will come up with an error because of my doors. Let's just jump down to level 1 and we'll put the doors back on. That's not a problem at all. My apologies. That's just basically I've put that on the roof rather than the actual the correct level. So add these doors back in nice and quick, no issues, and then we have our second floor. Let's go and have a look at that floor plan in a bit more detail. With that floor plan on here, missing a door, so let's right click, create similar, add a door just here. Lovely. Go up to the ceiling plan for level 2, not for level 2, don't make that mistake again, level 1. Ceiling, every single room, we make a click, and then finally we go up to level 2 and we're going to choose to place our roof. Choose the roof, choose the type of roof from the type selector. We're going to have a 250 mm overhang, and again I'm just going to do a standard gable roof. So I'm going to select these two outer edges with an angle, choose off define slope so that we have these two do not define a slope. Choose what you want the slope to be, press the tick, attach the walls to the roof, go and hit 3D, and within 16 minutes we have something that is representing a building, which is quite remarkable. Let's add some windows. So let's go down to our ground floor. Not the ceiling plan though, actually just the floor plan so we can see our layout. And let's go and use our window command. We've got a load of windows in here. We're just going to use the default ones. And I'm going to say that I want to place a window here. I want to place a smaller window here. And maybe I'll place, yeah, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. We've got a big window at the back. So let's go up to our level 1 floor plan. Let's just hide these other views for now. Level 1 floor plan, go and grab our window. And again, we'll use a nice big one just here. Slightly smaller one just here. And maybe we'll go with the larger ones again on the back of the house. Just here, just here. And a smaller one on the top of the landing. Just here. So obviously I'm doing everything on the fly at the moment, and clearly you'd be far more accurate than I am just throwing these things down. But very quickly we can start to get something that is representing this building. I just want to add some mullions and some grids on this curtain wall so it looks a little bit more like how I want it to. I can actually do that in 3D or use one of my elevations. I'm just going to say curtain grid, and literally you can see that you can come and hover over here and it highlights where the grid wants to be. So I'm just going to split that maybe into 3 or 4. If you want to come into an elevation, you can basically go and choose your elevation from your views, and then you can see and work with those through the elevation. So I could choose my dimension tool, click each one of these in turn without stopping, place a dimension down and make them equal to have them equally spaced. Head back to 3D. I could then say I want to add mullions to all grid line segments on this curtain wall, and that would just go and put basic mullions on that curtain wall for me. I'm not going to add a door. We'll imagine that this is a nice bifolding door or something like that. For the purpose of this, you get the general idea. So let's head back down to our ground floor. We're just going to add some rooms. So use my room tool. We're going to have, make sure I'm actually on my ground floor. We're going to have a ground floor with a room. We're going to have hallway, toilet, kitchen, living room, diner. We're going to go up to the first floor. We're going to have a room, landing, bedroom 3, bedroom 2, bedroom 1, bathroom. All of these can be named. I'm not going to name all of them for the purpose of today. I'll just do the ones on the ground floor. So let's have cloakroom in here. Let's have hall. We'll have this as a kitchen, and we'll come up here and have this one as living room. These currently show the square footage as well as the metric footage. If you don't want that, just select that tag, go to Edit Type and turn off Visible Imperial Area. Apply OK. Okay, good. So we have walls, we have floors, we have ceilings, we have doors and windows, and we've got some rooms defined as well. So we're coming on quite nicely. The next thing we might want to do in here is start going through and adding a little bit more information. So, for example, we might want to add some furniture. I'm not going to add a load of furniture in here today because quite simply we don't have time. But we could go through and use our components, or we can use one of the specific components if we're using full Revit. I could go into Systems, I could go into Plumbing Fixture. I can say I want to load a plumbing fixture, come across into my standard family. Again, for the purpose of this, everything is out of the box so that you can, albeit very quickly, hopefully follow on a little bit slower. Again, this is a bit of a challenge today to do this in such a short period of time, but I like a challenge, so that's good. Let's come and pick up some WCs, choose one that I like the look of, fine. And we're just going to come and load that into our model just here. But to a big cloakroom actually, but for the purpose of this, it doesn't really matter. We can grab this wall, just make it a bit smaller. As well as that, we're going to add another plumbing fixture, load another one in, jump up. We're going to go with a sink. American terminology, so we don't want sink. We want to have, I think they call them lavatories on here. There we go, that'll do. So we'll just put a vanity unit in the corner here. Just spin that round a couple of times. And these components are MEP components. So I'm just going to align this AL on the keyboard or modify align. Choose what you want to align to and the component that you want to align. What you want to align to and the component that you want to align. These are MEP components, so it's actually showing you that you could draw a hot water connection, a cold water connection, and a waste connection as well. If these were architectural components or using Revit LT, for example, you wouldn't be able to see these particular components in there. Okay, fine, good. I'm not going to go in to add anything into the kitchen. Maybe we want to add a simple staircase. So architecture, circulation, stair. We're choosing to draw run by run. We choose a run width. How we want to draw, I'm going to draw using my right exterior support because I want to trace up this wall and then this wall. And then we can define any particular options in here. Stairs are calculated, by the way. So if you hit edit type, go to your calculation rules, it will show you how those stairs are calculated. Again, for the purpose of this, we don't have time to go to the ins and outs. We have a number of different Revit demos. There's one that I did on our YouTube channel that's about 1:15 that goes into the umpteenth degree of detail on all the if, buts, and maybes. So give a subscribe and check that out to our YouTube channel. But for now, click where you want to draw. Remember, I'm using my exterior support right, so draw along the plasterboard. I'm going to pause about there. I'm then going to come in line over here and start drawing again. You'll notice that Revit gives me a nice preview. So when I start drawing, it will give me a preview of how many risers I need to create to get back up to that top level. Okay. So there's my staircase going from the ground floor up to level 1. It's not going to automatically cut my ceiling for me or my floor for me or anything like that. But if I go and have a look in 3D, maybe I want to put a selection around that staircase, choose View, Selection Box, and go and have a look at this in 3D to get a bit of an appreciation about what's going on. I don't want to have a banister on the wall side, so I'm going to select it and delete it. And I'm going to select this railing and maybe change it to something that's a little bit nicer, like this glass bottom fill. If you want to cut holes, you'd be a little bit more accurate than I'm about to be at the moment. Obviously, we need to cut a hole in this wall here. We also need to cut a hole in the ceiling and in this floor above. I'm going to be quite lazy because we're pushed for time. So again, I'm going to go up to level 1. I can see my staircase. I'm going to need to shift this wall. I'm just going to use my arrow keys to nudge it, or indeed, you can click and drag it with your mouse. Let's just make sure that we've got a half decent amount of space. Yeah, just over a meter will be fine. So vertical opening. While I've got my vertical opening, I basically need to go ahead and select a floor. So I'm just going to hover over the floor here, and I'm going to go and draw a vertical opening. With that vertical opening, I'm again not being overly accurate. Something like that is absolutely fine, just so it is encompassing my staircase. Press the tick, go and have a look at my section box, and there we have it. I can edit the boundary to make that cut bigger. Press the tick. I can grab that and make that cut deeper. If I want to encompass more of the floor, so on and so forth, we can just come in and tweak this as we see fit. You know, we can come in and cut that floor, no issues at all. We could also grab this wall. I could edit its profile. This will allow me to then come and trace round the existing geometry, should I want to basically cut around that that particular staircase. So in here, again, I'm just eyeballing this. Should be far more accurate than I am here, but I'm just giving you an appreciation of the functionality in the very limited time that we have. Okay. Clearly not massively accurate, but again, you get the general idea. We'd come in there and fix that up. Okay, so 26 minutes in, we have a building. It's got rooms, it's got walls, doors, windows, floors. It has a staircase, and from a 3D perspective, it looks like a very simple building. Okay, let's just finish this off as we're so pushed for time. Let's just say that I want to do a quick schedule to pull some information from this. So view, schedules, schedules and quantities. Let's go ahead and do a door schedule or a window schedule, as we had quite a few windows. Select the category, give it a title, press OK. Choose the fields that we want to have. So let's have the family, let's have the type, let's have the width, let's have the count and the cost. Let's sort them first by family, then by type, then by width, then by cost. Don't itemize every instance, press OK, and we get a list of all of the windows in the model. Not only do we get a list of all the windows in the model, we also get the ability to show you that this is a direct link between component and schedule. So when we select a row in the schedule, it physically selects that component in the model. We have one of these. If I go and grab this in the model, create similar and add a second one, the schedule automatically updates. So everything starts automatically working and doing exactly what it is that you want it to do. Let's create a quick sheet. Let's imagine this has got all of our dimensions on it. We've colored it. We've done a floor plan, all the furniture, and everything is good. Come down to sheets, right click, new sheet, choose the title block. Let's just go with A1. There's your title block. Grab your view, drag it, drop it onto the sheet. Place it where you want it to go. If you also want to have another view, grab it, drag it, drop it onto the sheet. Place it down. If you want the schedule, grab it, drag it and drop it onto the sheet. You might also want a 3D view. Choose your 3D view. Let's get to somewhere that looks half decent. Beautiful. Go to our sheet, grab a 3D view, drag it and drop it onto the sheet. So everything starts to come together really nicely and really, really quickly. Should you then want to go to the nth degree and make something that looks nice, let's just use our Enscape plugin. Let's fire over to our asset library. We have 2 minutes, probably more like 1.5 minutes left. So let's just grab a quick sofa. You'll do, and throw that down in the living room. Place you up against this wall. Beautiful. Cancel that a couple of times. And let's also go and grab a lamp. Floor lamp would be good. Not a desk lamp, a floor lamp. That'll do. Put him there, and we'll place him in just over here. Beautiful. And then if we go to Enscape, hit start, just under a minute remaining of the session. So within 30 minutes, we have from scratch drawn a building inside of Revit, very rough and ready, absolutely. But hopefully this has shown you that actually it's possible to do things this quickly inside of Revit. We've drawn intelligent parametric models with dimensions. We've given everything a tag. We've given everything some information. We've pulled that information back off with a schedule. We've created a drawing view on a sheet, and we're now just quickly going to fire up a render and show you what that looks like in a nice visual 3D render. Just take a couple of minutes because I've placed some of those assets. So whilst I've done this very quickly, if you watch that through a lot slower, the way I've explained it is using hopefully terminology that you'd be able to pick up and find useful. Revit's crashed. I think Revit's just crashed, which would just top this off beautifully. Yeah, there we go. Great. Okay. I'm going to open up to questions. I managed to draw something in 30 minutes and get 0 to hero in 30 minutes, and then Revit let me down and crashed. Okay, so didn't manage to show you the finished result, and I didn't save the model. So rule number 1, make sure you save the model before you start a third-party plugin in case it crashes like that did. Rule number 2, Revit doesn't auto-save, so make sure you save the model before you start a render. But actually, hopefully that's been useful. It's kind of all I wanted to show. I just hope to show you a pretty render at the end there. So maybe while I'm just asking if anyone has any specific questions, if they want to use their GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar panel on the right-hand side and ask them, more than happy to answer those questions. And while I wait to see if any pop up, I'm literally going to open up something and just press Go in Enscape just to show you what that render may have looked like. I'll just use the sample model. So yeah, if you've got any questions, please pop them through on the panel on the right hand side. But hopefully that's been useful. It was a bit of a different take on the webinar. Usually we go through a very specific subject and we really focus in hard on that subject in these sessions. But what we wanted to do today was have a little bit of fun. We're all still very much probably working from home. We might be furloughed on lockdown. So it's been a bit of fun to me to try and get through all this really quickly. So yeah, hopefully it's been interesting to watch. And actually it just shows you how much you can get through in Revit, of course, unless it crashes in that period of time. I do think there's a bit of an issue with the latest build of Enscape, although it was a BIMTrack bug that come up. But yeah, you'd have kind of got this sort of rendered result from that building. Obviously, this isn't the one that I've produced, but I hoped to have walked you into the lounge and shown you that the light would have come on and we have something that updates dynamically real time. But alas, the joys of live demonstrations. But I really hope that's been useful. Samuel has asked if we're going to do any MEP webinars. If you would like me to do the same thing for MEP, more than happy to do so. There is on our YouTube channel, Watch CAD Man and Machine UK, I think it's called. There is a good hour-long demo of me using Revit MEP, really detailed plumbing, ducting, HVAC, and sanitary as well. So check that out. But if you would like us to do another one of these with MEP flavor, then please let us know. Thanks, Javier, for the heads up on the Enscape crash. I'll check that out. Steve, thank you for the feedback. Alan, MEP using fabrication items. Fine. Yeah. Okay. We'll stick something in the schedule for the coming weeks and maybe go through some of the fabrication tools in Revit using MEP. But look, guys, I hope that's been useful. It's certainly been a bit of fun. Apologies for the crash at the end there. At least it shows the session's live, I guess. But I hope you're all keeping safe. Get out there, enjoy the weather. It's going to be beautiful this week, certainly for the most of the UK. So yeah, enjoy the weather. The session has been recorded. I might edit the recording and put the render on. I might just throw it together quickly. But yeah, it'll be on our YouTube channel later. Thanks for your time. And until next time, stay safe. Thank you very much. Cheers. Goodbye.